Baby boomers are expected to pass on $84 trillion over the next 20 years. Anywhere from 30 to 68 trillion of that is set to go to Gen X and Millennials.
For more on what's being called the Great Wealth Transfer, we spoke with certified tax strategist Monika Hengesbach. She's the CEO of Decision Financial Services, which is a tax strategy company for executives and multi-million-dollar organizations.
So they're estimating that the wealth transfer is going to be anywhere from 30 to approximately $68 trillion. And that wealth is expected to transfer down to the, I believe it's the Gen X generation, the ones that are, I guess that's my generation, believe it or not, is supposed to be inheriting this massive amount of wealth.
And yeah, that's supposed to take place over the next 20 years or so. And I guess the millennials will be affected pretty heavily by this as well. What kind of impact does it have on a younger generation when they inherit this kind of, or any significant amount of money?
You know, it's twofold. One of it is emotional. All of a sudden they go from having absolutely nothing in their name to being very wealthy. And so it's an emotional hit all at once. And they don't know what to do with that money. And that's why you hear horror stories. I mean, you hear a lot of celebrities that inherited quite a bit of wealth and they spent it all. And so you're dealing with that coupled with the loss of your parent or your grandparent, and then not knowing what to do with it, sort of being lost because you've never met with a financial planner, you never met with a tax preparer or an estate attorney. And so you're just lost all of a sudden with all of these options handed to you and you don't know what to do with it.
Say a bit more about that. What goes on in somebody's life?
You know, if it happens too quickly and they're not prepared, the beneficiaries are bound to make pretty bad decisions, whether it comes tax ramifications. You know, the highest tax percentage for an estate is 40%. So if you're not planning appropriately to get that wealth out of your estate, your beneficiaries are stuck having to file an estate tax return, and they could potentially be subject to 40% of income tax. That's number one. Number two, they get it, they all of a sudden decide I'm going to sell everything, or I don't need this, or what am I going to do with these properties? And I've seen in my practice, unfortunately, where some properties may be held out of state and a savvy investor comes in and offers them less than what the property is really valued at. And so they're ending up losing money. Another thing of not being prepared is they might sell stock that really has a history of growing and creating more wealth for them. And so what happens is they immediately focus right then instead of taking a step back and trying to plan for their future going forward and their kids' future going forward.
So talk about that. What's the best way for parents and their heirs to plan for this kind of wealth transfer?
So, you know, my recommendation is to have those hard conversations. Talk to your beneficiaries, which usually are your children, and start explaining what assets you do have. Where are they held? What are the logins? What are the passwords? Bring them to a meeting with your financial planner so they have a better understanding of what's going on within your plan. Talk about the real estate that you may have. Have them meet with your accountant. If they're younger, let's say, you know, below the age of 18, then I would actually assign somebody in my trust, whether it be another family member or a confidant, that can actually manage my children's inheritance and have those conversations with them later down the road so they are protected.
It sounds like a lot of proper planning is the right way to go here, not some kind of quick one-off fast food approach. All right, Monika Hengesbach, thank you so much for your time today.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.